A snowstorm is possible for areas of the southeast as we get into this upcoming weekend. Here to give you all the new information that we have on this. We'll cover all the individual model runs first, all these fancy and flashy snowfall graphics next. This will get a lot of people excited who are winter weather fans. And then we'll spend some time geeking out with you guys a little bit on the storm system and just the energy associated with it. My name is Mitch. Good Wednesday evening. I hope you guys are doing well. I've had a wonderful week so far. Subscribe if you haven't, like the video if you like it, and if anybody has anything I can pray about or pray over, please drop it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling tonight. So let's go over the latest Euro first. We got the 18Z. It ran a couple hours ago, so this is fresh information. Timestamp will be up here and over here. So this is for this Friday evening, so 48 hours from now, give or take an hour. We got energy moving across the Mid-South. This really isn't the main system we're going to discuss, but I think it is worth talking about this for areas of the southern Appalachian Mountains, the Mid-South, etc., maybe even just east of the mountains too. So a rain-snow mix is actually moving across areas in northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, southern areas of Tennessee Friday night. So it's kind of the appetizer event, if you will, but you continue to move forward and we get into Friday night and a Saturday morning. This is right in the middle of the night, Friday night. We got a lot of snow showers drifting about across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes region. Look at this snow breaking out across the southern Alps, the mountains of, even as far south as North Georgia. Some flurries breaking out across areas of North Carolina, southern Virginia. We got a little bit of snow across the mountains of North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, etc. And then we start to move into Saturday morning. And I wouldn't be surprised, in southwest North Carolina, we get a period of moderate to heavy snow. We got a little bit of light snow up here in the Delmarva, the Tidewater, maybe up into southern New England, and it's too warm for areas of like most of Georgia and South Carolina. I wouldn't be surprised one bit, though, Saturday morning, we get a rain-snow mix across the triad of North Carolina, maybe the foothills, even areas of the Piedmont. We scoot past this time frame, and then our main time frame of interest begins to show up on the table here. It shows a little rain-snow mix as far south as Louisiana. But if we look at temperatures, let's see what it shows here. It's very marginal. I don't know if that's actually snow, but there's a lot of cold air aloft moving in, but that's upper 30s, low 40s. But let's get back to the precipitation map, not get too caught up into that right now at least. And let's move forward. We continue into Sunday morning. You can see the timestamp 12Z Sunday. That's Sunday morning. This Sunday, not next Sunday, this Sunday. So this is only a few days out ahead of us. We have snow, moderate snow, breaking out across the panhandle of Florida, southeast Alabama, southern areas of Georgia, some snow breaking out across the low country of South Carolina, and then we get into about midday Sunday. We got an all-out snowstorm in the central panhandle of Florida into central to southern Georgia. Snow moving into areas of South Carolina, just about all of South Carolina, starting moving to the sandhills of North Carolina. Look at this. And then we start to move into Sunday afternoon. You see that darker area of blue right here? That's heavy snow, guys. The little lighter shade of darker blue, if that makes sense, is moderate snow, and then that light blue is some light snow. Snow's getting all the way up to Charlotte. So the latest Euro run is the most aggressive one we've seen so far as the northwest motion of this. Even a rain-snow mix as far south as, Jacksonville. But look at this axis of snow hugging up against the coastline. And then we continue. It hits eastern North Carolina, gets as far north as southern Maryland, the Tidewater area, and barely grazes southern New England. So, and then it heads on off. But man, just getting a closer look here at the southeast from our friends here. And this is where I live. If you're a new viewer, I live here in central South Carolina. I'm a huge snow fan if you're new. If you're not new, then that's no new news to you, right? So check this out. Sunday midday, it's 1 o'clock. An all-out snowstorm. And I live here. You see that little lake right there? That's where I live. It's Lake Murray. I live in Lexington, South Carolina here in the Midlands. So, man, I'm watching this. I'm trying not to get too excited, though. But look at this. That is just your classic southeast snowstorm. The pattern is favorable, and then it heads on off. So what about other models? GFS got a lot of people excited. Now, I'm going to discuss the northwest trends, suppression, all of that here in a second. And how you don't need to get caught up in one output by model guidance ever, but especially in this setup. GFS, here we go. Let's watch for this little teaser event, appetizer, if you will, Friday night and Saturday. Show some snow. This is like the Tennessee Valley. It's just all rain. There's just not enough cold air working at the surface, but that might change. The snow across areas of Kentucky, we got just light to moderate snow showers and lake-enhanced stuff across the Great Lakes region. Let's go on and move forward. We get into Saturday morning. Check out the moderate snow flying around across southwest Virginia, West Virginia, surrounding states, even this corridor of snow in southern New England. Okay, and then we move past this, and here it is. You can already see snow breaking out across the deep south. It's snowing across areas of Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and then light snow is moving across Mississippi and Alabama. And then we start to move into Sunday morning. Look at that. It is snowing like crazy in Atlanta. It's not a forecast. It's not a forecast, guys. I had 300 comments in the video this morning, and I had multiple comments say, how can you say this is a forecast? Just a GFS. I mean, I literally say it's not a forecast about 10 times every video. That's like people just make up stuff. But anyways, that's just how it is running a YouTube channel. But you got this corridor of heavy snow in southern Alabama. I mean, it's snowing in Mobile. It's snowing all the way down the eastern panhandle of Florida. Look at the snow moving through central Georgia. And then it's actually warm. Starts out as rain in, say, Columbia, and then switches to heavy, wet snow like Sunday morning. And look at this corridor of heavy snow from, Columbus, Georgia. Valdosta, all the way up through Macon, Augusta, all the way up through the Greenville-Spartanburg area, Columbia, Charlotte. And then it starts to wrap up the coast, but, it starts off as all rain along the coastal areas when the Euro is mainly snow, and then might end to snow. So this is Sunday afternoon. This gets an axis of heavy snow all the way up the I-95 corridor into southern New England, and just really cranks up and continues to move away. Now, I want to show you some other model runs, not just all the ones that show snow, right? The Canadian model is very aggressive with the Friday night, Saturday morning deal. Look at the snow in Kentucky, northern Tennessee, southwest North Carolina. You can quite literally see the Tennessee Valley between the Cumberland Plateau and the Smokies there, where you can just see the green, which is rain, blue is snow. Any kind of pink or orange you see, it's a wintry mix, but I don't really think this pattern is going to support much of that right now, at least. But you can see some snow across western North Carolina, Saturday morning, and then the main time frame moves in, and it's just faster. So Sunday morning, the bulk of the moisture already Sunday morning is kind of across the eastern areas of the Carolinas. If you look really closely along the South Carolina, North Carolina border, you can actually see a little bit of snow right there. But there's some energy right here diving down with the trough, forming some light snow across middle Tennessee, but it doesn't do what the Euro and GFS is showing. Now, the Euro AI model and the AI guidance just in general has been warm. Okay, and I'll say that right at the dot. But same thing, it's turned aggressive with the Saturday morning deal across areas of the southwest North Carolina mountains. Eastern areas of Tennessee, watch out. Some of this will be rain, some of this will be snow. And then we get into our time frame of interest. Everything is just faster. So therefore, because it's faster, there's not enough cold air worked in as we're getting into Saturday night to Sunday. You really want this to move more into a Sunday deal. You don't want it to move into a Saturday to Saturday night deal. But here's the moisture. This is Sunday morning. It kind of follows the Canadian or vice versa. And you see this 0 degrees Celsius line, which is right into here. That's cold air aloft moving in, but the moisture's outrunning it. So if you freeze it here, for example, and you kind of zoom into the southeast, moisture's right there. What are temperatures at the surface looking like? They're very marginal. So we got all this moisture across the eastern Carolinas, but it's in the low 40s. All the cold air is in the western Carolinas back into Georgia. So there is a bit of a concern that there's no real cold high up to the north. So the concern is that if this energy scoots too fast, basically if it's a faster scenario, okay, and the bulk of our moisture is already exiting, say, Sunday morning, then we're going to run into a warm air issue, and it's going to offset what the GFS and the Euro shows. But man, it's hard to go against the Euro, right? But we haven't 100% figured out this AI guidance yet. Is it legit? We feel like sometimes it is, and other times the Euro, reminds everybody that it's the king of all models, and I still think it is. I've always favored that, even if it just shows me what I don't want to see. But you see this area right up here? This looks like snow beginning to enter areas of southern New England, and yeah, and then it's done. So what about these snowfall graphics, right? Here's the Euro. The Euro shows a swath of accumulating snow from northern Florida, Panhandle, Florida, through southern Georgia, and the eastern areas of the Carolinas, and then it's kind of a whiff for the rest of the I-95 corridor into the Mid-Atlantic. And just to take a closer look at some of these areas, this is the deep south. Look at that. Look at a few inches of snow down here. It'd be like last year, deja vu, right? And then you look up through the Carolinas into areas of Virginia, and that's over an inch of snow at my house, and just up the road a few inches. Listen, I read the same comment about 15 times in this morning's video, and I even told you guys not to do this. Okay, say if you live in Atlanta and you live in a Greenville, Spartanburg area, and you're watching this right now, and you're like, oh, it's over. It's over. It never snowed. Mitch, why doesn't it ever snow here? This, that, and the other. I used to be that guy. I used to be that person that always did that. Okay? Listen, this is one model run. This could easily shift up to all the way up to Chattanooga, Asheville, and then your boy Mitch over here in Columbia sitting in a cold rain where y'all are getting nuked with heavy snow. That could easily happen here. This is definitely a setup that favors a northwest trend. Now, you look at the Euro ensemble, and it's definitely a lesser version of its operational run. In fact, it backed off. I liked the fact that it backed off. To me personally, if I'm getting personal with you guys, and anybody that lives near me in central South Carolina, basically from a corridor from central Georgia, central South Carolina up to Fayetteville to Raleigh, you don't want to wish too much for what the GFS is showing because it's amped up. You want things to trend northwest literally inside 24 hours. If you do it too fast, you're going to go, oh man, we're in the jackpot zone. We're going to get several inches of snow. Oh no, we're raining now. It happens just like that. It does. So you don't want to wish for too much of a good thing or it turns into a bad thing. Same thing I'm going to say when we discuss the energy associated with it. So you got this little average right here in the coastal plains of the Carolinas up into southeast Virginia and central to south central Georgia, all the way to the panhandle of a ½ inch to 1 inch of a snowfall signal. This makes up 51 members, so it combines all the members that shows nothing, all the members that show a few inches of snow, all the members that show something in between, and you might have a few members that show something big. Together creates an average and mean. Okay? GFS, what does it show? Watch how it all pops up on your screen. Voila, boom, and your eyes get real big, right? I mean, it's showing a few to almost several inches of snow from the deep south through the Carolinas. I mean, almost 6 inches of snow up here to the Virginia, North Carolina border. And what's wild to me is the Weather Prediction Center and National Weather Service guidance, they like the idea of this being further north than what the Euro shows. There's some graphics that I'll show in the next couple of videos coming up. But anyways, you look at the GFS ensemble, and it's a pretty strong signal. It always follows its operational run, meaning if the regular GFS run shows just a world beater snowstorm look, then the GFS ensemble 95% of the time is going to be really beefed up. And sure enough, it is. You got this inch to 1.5 inches snowfall mean from the deep south into the Carolinas, and it goes over 1 inch once you get into areas of North Carolina up into Virginia. Things like that. And here's just, a closer look at this too. And I mean, that's about 1.5 inches in my house. And then I want to look at the blend of all models. And let's see if we have a new one here. Oh, we do, man, but it has not ran all the way through yet. That stinks. So close. Look at the blend of all models. This is a great, responsible thing to look at, I would say, right? This blends all model guys together. Now, I think it's a 6-hour model lag. But anyways, I mean, it likes the idea of accumulating snow all the way to the Gulf coastline. See it here? And guys, remember, if you tune in for a while and you're like, dude, I don't see any town, city names on this map. When we get closer to these events, if you're new to the channel, I show a bunch of graphics to show a lot of towns and cities on the map because, believe it or not, there is people out there that cannot point to where they live on a map. I'll leave it at that. Don't want to be too sarcastic and rude and hurt anybody's feelings. But central Georgia, I mean, look, it's showing over 1 inch. Same thing through South Carolina. Then it gets 1 inch to 2 inches up here. So, I mean, it's a pretty strong signal. I really wish we had the OOZ run. It only goes out to tomorrow evening, though. Maybe we'll go back to it. All right, so this is where we geek out with you guys a little bit. This might be where I'll lose some people. People click off like, man, I don't want to hear about this. Just tell me if it's going to snow or not, right? And I can't really blame you if you're not passionate about the weather. This stuff really ain't going to do a whole lot for you. But I love to go over this. I'm never going to be that guy that jumps on here, shows you a bunch of fancy model runs, and heads on out. Anybody can do that. So we're going to look at the Euro vortice map. This is energy in, at 18,000 feet up in the air. And you see all these crazy looking areas right here in color. I don't like using pink right here for this specific. If I hurt anybody's feelings and you like pink, you're like, dude, why not pink? Well, black just looks better. So, but you got this big strung out area of energy, but I want you to really watch this area right here. Now, all this energy right here kind of diving in Saturday morning, this is what's causing that appetizer event Friday night and Saturday morning. But anyways, watch how this area right here, that is our system, begins to dig. Now, a quick learning lesson about tilts. This is a positive tilt, indicating a weaker storm system. It can still be an impactful storm system. This is a neutral tilt. This is when the positive tilt that I just drew begins to tilt right here. Okay, so a neutral tilt is an up and down motion, basically. That's a sign of a strengthening storm system. And then a negative tilt goes like this. That means we have a strengthening storm system. It's getting stronger, probably popping off. A decent in strength, low pressure. So as you can tell, this is a positively tilted trough area of energy diving in. But watch how it begins to tilt into a neutral look right into here. So at this time, the energy is kind of going more so like this. Now, I don't know if this is ever going to get into a negative tilt. We really don't need it to do all that. But it goes from that positive tilt to that neutral tilt, and then it gets negatively tilted out in the Atlantic. And we have to watch like Atlantic, Canada, stuff like that on down the road. But you can see that is our energy right here, diving in, digging in. So there's two things I want to focus in on. Where it digs, how far west does it dig, and how it digs, which I just explained. It gets to that neutral tilt. But I want to talk about this trend of this energy being further west that we have seen. So this is the 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's 4 or 5. Wait, let's see. I don't know. It's 4 or 5 ticks there. But this is a trend to the west. You see how this entire area of energy right here is backing off this way? I mean, the kind of the base of the vortex all the way in eastern Colorado now. 24 hours ago, it was showing it over like central areas of Kansas and Nebraska. So we're backing this up, okay? What does that mean? Well, if you can look at it here too. In response to this backing up, and this is for Saturday midday, this is Sunday morning. Of course, in this time frame, it's backing up. See how everything's backing up? So what significance does this bring? Well, let's stop it here because this is distracting me a little bit. Let's move it right back here. Right here. What's the significance of this? Well, the further west this dives in, okay, the further west it'll have an opportunity to dig. Therefore, the further west it has an opportunity to take on a better tilt. Go from that positive tilt to a neutral tilt. Therefore, the further west you have precipitation over land. If this stays a positive tilt, okay, let's take a broad look at this. Let's go back to this. If this takes on, say if right here, this energy, our Sunday system, is still tilted like this, okay, then maybe it's on its way to tilting better into that neutral tilt, right, to a strengthening storm system, but by the time it does, it's out in the ocean. So it's throwing moisture over the ocean. So the fact that this has ticked further to the west allows for all that other action that we need, the tilting and stuff, to happen further west. Therefore, it happens over the land. Therefore, you get a low pressure developing, throwing moisture back over land. Okay? Now, you see this. I want to say this really quick. Too much of a good thing can end up becoming a bad thing for certain areas. Too much of a good thing turns into a fantastic thing for some people if that ends up being the conclusion of where the storm ends up being in real time. But of course, we don't know that yet. So what I'm saying is, if you look at this, for example, this thing's backing up, right, on the euro. It's backing up, it's backing up. That's cool and all. But you look at the temperatures aloft with it, they're backing up too. And if you look at the energy associated with it, the moisture's backing off too. Now, more moisture is overspreading land. That's good news for most people. But it's already becoming bad news for the coastal areas of the Carolinas and Georgia. If you look at the final frame here to the current euro, you're already having mixing issues along the coastline. So this morning it was looking like just a good old-fashioned snowstorm along the coastline. Now you're having mixing issues along the coastal areas. On this latest run, you definitely are on the GFS. We already showed you that. So, you know, sure, let's stop this. Sure, you see this nice band of snow barely making it to Columbia, but there's a possibility that we trend this so far northwest that all of a sudden Columbia is just rain and it's snowing like crazy back into Atlanta, maybe Birmingham, the mountains of North Carolina. So you don't want to wish for too much of this, okay, this backing up trend further west, because all of a sudden you start to bring, you basically start to back up the air mass. Okay, so the colder air really isn't in place for this as much anymore. So you just want to be careful because we don't have a true cold air source to the north. This is kind of cold air working in with the system. So what you're looking at here is temperatures in Celsius in the low levels of the atmosphere, about a mile up. So you always look for that 0 degrees Celsius line to indicate if it's cold enough for snow aloft. And it's plenty cold enough, but if you look at some of these negative numbers, they're beginning to climb as this energy backs off. So therefore, it's warmed up a little bit along the coastline aloft, if that makes sense. So you don't want this to dig too much. Now, if you're like in Nashville, like Birmingham, then you're like begging, all right, dude, please keep trending this way. But you don't want it too much for areas east of the mountains. You want to be careful. I honestly think the cold air source is better in the deep south. You just need a moisture to work with. I think you're going to have plenty of cold air already kind of coming in place. You can end up with a cold air issue, lack of cold air east of the mountains quickly if you amp this up too much. Meaning, if you dig this energy, for example, if this thing becomes like maybe negatively tilted, well, neutrally tilted, maybe back here, then all of a sudden you're going to get a low pressure that pops off right here, and it throws back too much warm air advection into the system. Therefore, you get this axis of snow like setting up maybe like right into here or something. You want to be careful. You do. You don't want too much of a northwest trend depending on where you live. Some people are probably screaming through the screen that live like west of the mountains, like, Mitch, shut up. Yes, we do. We don't care about snow in your neck of the woods. But I'm telling you, we've seen this all too often. I like seeing this right here. I like it. Stay right there for a couple days. Yeah, it's not going to keep the snow people excited too much, but I want you to beef this up at the last second. Like, I want to be sitting here Saturday morning, and then we start to see some massive shifts to the northwest. That's my take on it. So, for example, this is the GFS, which is, really amped up, right? The GFS shows, this scenario right here. A lot of snow, a lot more snow further, all the way back into Atlanta and almost eastern Tennessee. Let's go back to the VORT, right? Okay, so that's the energy associated with it. This is the energy associated with the euro. And this is the moisture associated with the euro. Okay, it's much more suppressed down here. This is the same time frame. So let's look at the difference in energy. Okay, this is Sunday about mid-morning. That's the GFS. This is the euro. You notice the euro, it is still tilted a little bit, still positive, a little bit tilted to the positive, It's a little bit positively tilted still. So if you look at the GFS, this thing's already trying to wrap up. It's already beginning. It's kind of vertically tilted again. All right, it's taking on more of that neutral tilt, so kind of that up and down motion. So this thing's digging in, therefore it's kicking up a lot more moisture up into here. That little bit of a difference is huge. See the difference as I kind of go back and forth? It's crazy. But that little bit of tweaking in the energy is the difference between this and this right here. That little bit of just positive to slightly neutral tilt. And where it's digging. There's so many other things you can mention too. So, yeah, that's all I got, guys. We made it under 25 minutes. We'll go over all this new information tomorrow morning. We'll see what we're looking at. Hopefully we keep these snow vibes going. Appreciate all the kind and beautiful things y'all saw. Oh, y'all said. I'm sorry, I'm really tired, guys. It's past my bedtime. 8:40 is definitely past your boy's bedtime. I'm supposed to be asleep right now. But had church, had to do the video a little bit later. But I really appreciate all the kind words you guys, said from this morning's video. I was blown away, like 300 comments. It was crazy. And the video didn't even get like a ton of views. It was just wild. But, the little outburst I had around the 12, 13-minute mark, that was raw emotion. It really is. And I just love this so much. I'm super passionate about this. So thank you for all the support. Things are getting very active now. Keeping up with things right now, but it could certainly get out of control very quickly and be hard to keep up with. But thank you for the support. Y'all have a wonderful night, and we'll do it again here in about under 12 hours. God bless.